Welcome to Flower of Life podcast. I'm your host, Carmen Fernandez, and today I am with Rachel Scoazec Lenihan. Rachel is a professional musician. She's a singer, songwriter, and she's also a shaman, druidess, and a sound and energy healer. Welcome, Rachel.
Welcome. Good evening, Carmen. I wanted to say thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming. I know that you have loads of interesting things to talk about, and today we're going to talk about raising consciousness. We're going to talk about how to align your soul star and to feel more fulfilled with your life, how to co-create with the universe, and how to fulfill your secret dreams. So this is going to be a very interesting episode. And how can we start, Rachel? Do you think we can start with about consciousness and how to raise consciousness? And I think this is a good topic because of the times we're living now, very interesting times.
We can start with pain, because pain, there's always a secret cure in every illness. And the illness of the time is people have disconnected from their soul and they have identified with an illusion. And an illusion being an illusion, it's an entrapment into a third density matrix, which is fading our connection to our inner light, our inner brilliance, our inner effulgence, our inner power. So pain is a powerful tool, because if we take anything unpleasant, we can turn it around, and then we become magic, and we found our own magic. We're all magicians. We're all magicians. It's just we don't know it. Some of them do, some don't.
I love that we are magicians. I'm finding recently that I'm having I'm becoming aware of my pain, of my fears, of my attachments. And I found that just by allowing them, by allowing myself to feel the pain, that I find it a healing process.
Absolutely. You know, and tears are meant to be washing. You're washed with the tears. Sometimes you really need to shed tears. And I spent years crying because I had to get over whatever pains it was, you know, and crying is good. Oh, it's you feel better in the end. You feel drained. Mm-hmm. You feel like you've emptied your bag of pain and everything that's connected to negative emotions. So if people feel a lot of pain and anguish, and there's always going to be the choice is always ours. We can always ask ourselves, do I want to keep going, or do we want to feel peaceful, happy, joyful, radiant, and have very high vibes? And so I think a lot of people have strayed from their soul because they have been lured by various traps, the traps of material success, consumeristic lifestyles, the trap of competitiveness with each other, the trap of being someone that society wants you to be, as opposed to going back to the natural you. And the pain, of course, is always going to end up on a brick wall. And the pain will say, I'm here to tell you that it's the wrong way. Whatever way you want, whatever strategy you tried, it's a dead end. Hence you have the pain. And some people sometimes have to try different roads, and it's all pain. And they think, their mind is drawing those conclusions that they're trapped and they're in a dark tunnel and they don't see anything. And that's why you can understand why people would commit suicide. You would understand how people would get really depressed. You would also understand why people would be depressed to a point where they would resort to substitute and addictive substances like alcohol, drugs, sex, or games, or all types of addiction, eating, you know, all those disorders that basically it's trying to fill a void within them with XYZ. But it's never going to happen that way, because it's only going to happen, maybe you'll get that hit of, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you'll be fabulously feeling great. And then 10 minutes later, you'll be back on your feet, feeling even lower, because always, if you go high, you'll go low. It's like as above, so below. And you can understand why people have used pain the wrong way, and it's a journey. And some people are still there, stuck in that. Or people then can keep going, and they say, okay, wrong door, I'm still in pain, Jesus, nothing works. And maybe something like a person, a little thing. It can be a little thing. It can be words sometimes, a kindness. It can be an animal. It can be the sky opening. It can be an intuition. It can be a passion in life. Someone will have a connection with something alive within them. And they need to follow this. This is what I would say. And I do a lot of work to help people with their soul path. And I do an aura reading, and I know exactly where the problem is. And I'm trying to give them tools that they will practice themselves in order to align themselves. It's like a lamp. I say to them, you know, they tell me, oh, but there's only a carcass of us. There's no God, there's nothing higher than us. A lot of time there's so much, the pain is dulling their connection. And I said, of course, look at a lamp. You know that if you don't plug it into the socket, it won't light. But you need to plug into the socket first for the lamp to light. So the only inner sense of, I feel a connection to my own inner power, my own living sense of feeling alive and happy and fulfilled and tasting something sweet and pleasant within myself and raising the vibrations more and more. The only way you can do that is if you start grounding yourself, connecting to your breath and your heart. And it can be doing anything as well, anything that pacifies you, anything that has a beneficial effects on you, you know, and whatever it is for people. Some people do crochet or knitting, some people do diaries, they make diaries, some people are being creative, some people are doing DIY and they're upcycling things and it's creative. Some other people write music. Some people can take vegetables from a garden and just the fact of touching them and processing them into lovely food is transformative. Yes. There's a sense of empowerment there. Whatever that gives you pleasure, empowerment, peace, a sense of peace within you is good. Start with this, and then it's, you know, doing more and more of what you love and less of what is not working for you, what is violent against you. And then the wall of fear. People will say, I'd love to do this, but I have a mortgage, but I have to go to work because I have to pay for my car, because I need to feed the kids, blah, 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 blah. And that's fair enough. But you need to then to create a life that suits your values. So it's about know thyself, and you will know the secret of the stars and the gods. That's the old Greek saying, but it's way older than that. But it's about you. It's about the connection. So nature will give you that great, the great blessing of bringing you back to your senses. 1, 2, 3, back in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Nature, sit by a park, you know, if you're in the city, sit under a tree, watch the sky even, you know, breathe fresh air,
Mm-hmm.
and watch the birds in flight and see how you feel about that, and you feel better after someone, and then you start feeling more pacified, and then you understand that it's a state of being, and you're expanding your consciousness of being instead of being identified with that mind chatter was always going to go it's non-stop, unless you start grounding yourself. And you,
Everything is okay.
breath is your connection with the higher dimensions of you. We are multidimensional beings.
What does it mean that we're multidimensional beings?
Okay, that we are more than our carcass. Because we vibrate, and it's coming from the heart. The heart within us is like an emitter transmitter. So whatever, and the heart is emitting and receiving more powerfully, 4 times more powerfully than the mind is actually weak in comparison. But whatever you vibrate, you will receive from the universe. You know, in this era of we are fractal from source. We are all one, the law of one. We're interconnected. We are fractals. Mandelbrot, you know, the mathematician has shown us that the infinitely small is connected in proportion with the infinitely big. And whatever, regardless of the scale, Pythagoras had showed us the law of Pythagoras, you know. You can apply that in architecture, in music, in a lot of things. There are universal laws. Mathematics is magical, you know. It's magical. You look at a flower and the pattern inside mirrors a wave, and the mathematics of it, the Fibonacci suites, and it's fascinating. You know, you take life as a structure. It's not random. Nothing is random. And you're only going to receive what you vibrate. So it's choosing, then you realize you can direct yourself with your moods and how open your heart is. If you start breathing from the belly, you know, when you relax about something, you're afraid, and like, oh, so it's gone, it's back to normal again, it's fine again. It's like, immediately, the heart and the soul. Feed your heart with what you love to do and be. Feed your soul with your dreams, and you can get dreams come true. I had so many dreams come true. I'm so lucky, or I'm so connected, or I'm so happy to just be. It's about being. People come to me and said, but you see, the problem is I need to do this in order to feel this. And I said, no, it's the contrary. You feel first, then you have.
And that's how you co-create with the universe, when you feel what you want to create.
And people come and say, oh, I have to do this, have to do that, and I have to, oh, I have to do this. And you say, hang on, just breathe and be and let go. It's not here, it's goes back to your heart. And some people say, oh, but I've no more heart, you know. So I said, okay. Take that hurt part of you and embrace it, give a big hug and say, okay, I hear this part of me that's hurt and wounded. And that's the path of the wounded healer. We all have. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be hurt, because we can decide, okay, it's a trigger to change our ways and to be good and to be more loving. And sometimes people need this to crack their heart open and realize we are not separated from the trees, the people around us, the whole of humanity. And the whole planet and the whole universe, the intraterrestrial, the galactic people, all the rains, all the species. We're all one. We all have one single source, and it's love and light. And we are this freedom, this amazing freedom to co-create what we want by how loving we are towards ourselves, how well we honor who we are. How can you love someone or your neighbor, your wife, your husband, your kids, your grandparents, if you don't love yourself?
Mm.
And if you start believing the mind, you're going to lose yourself in a labyrinth of complications. Whereas it's actually very simple. Think of a lake. Transparent, when you don't think of anything, it reflects very deeply. But when there's the winds of the thoughts, all you see is the little waves and rings on the surface, and then everything is blurred and you don't see the truth anymore. So to exceed the truth, you need no mind, like a transparent lake. And that's another Zen prayer that you do. You say, in breath, the mind is clear as a lake. Out breath. And then you look at the sky and you say your mind is as deep and boundless as the sky. And you breathe out, and you could say you breathe in the energy of the earth under your feet. And then you breathe out the sky into your heart. You can emit something really powerful. And I think it's very simple. Look at a child playing. They're not thinking, tomorrow I have to do my taxes, and I need to pay that bill. Only adults do that. But you can say, okay, I forgot about all this. I'm just going to be in the moment. And in the moment, I trust that the right thought, the right thing will come. But for this, you need to be aligned, motionless, and silent.
Aligned, motionless, and silence. I like that.
That's why I love silence. There's more nurturing. I'm a musician and a sound healer, an energy healer, but there wouldn't be any music without the silence. Silence is the source of everything. It's so important to have silence, and our society has been created to give us constant stimulation. And you have a mobile phone, it's constant stimulation. You spend 24/7 around Facebook, scrolling down, or VK or whatever you're on. Instagram is even worse. It's the moment. Oh, I see something nice. Oh, here, it has to be shared. And it's all a barrage of stimulation. It can be a good stimulation or a bad stimulation. It's a good thing to nurture. Make the difference between nurturing your heart and your soul and stimulate your mind with all the problems associated. There is a practical problem from too much time on the screens is the young generations now start wearing glasses because they find it's fashionable. Teenage are wearing glasses because they need them. Before, you didn't need glasses before 40, usually, unless you're an avid reader. But those are noxious habits. They're addictive, and they're deliberately addictive. And you go into overstimulation, then you lose track of who you are because you're born to do something. Deep down, a gut feeling, this is what you need to trust. What makes you happy? What brings you joy? As simple as that. What brings you joy, Carmen? Don't think, tell me.
I love talking to people, interesting people like you.
Excellent.
Yeah, I learning new things, and I love spending time in nature. I love socializing with people, meeting new people. I love spending time with my family, feeling the love of my family.
Yes, yes, that's fantastic. It's all good. What you're telling,
Yeah.
you could feel the radiant, sunny heart that you have, and the nurture and the soft feeling. It's really nice to connect through the heart,
Yes.
and whatever brings you joy. I mean, sometimes I play my harp, or I go out and I contemplate the land and the beautiful mountains and the trees, and I smell the fresh air, and it's so peaceful. And I've got so many beautiful flowers around, and I just, my heart is full of love. Or I come late from a gig, not this year, but something simple. Doesn't have to be big. Come back from a gig, playing a gig, and it's late because you need to bring the gear. It's late, and you look at the sky, and it's full of stars, and you think, wow, we're connected to all this. We have all this within us.
Yeah.
All this amazing energy within us. So instead of being whining about or reacting from triggers, we can start saying, okay, if there's a part of me that's still reacting from triggers, I take it in me and I give a big hug. And if I have to do that many times, I'll do that. But, like you would, nurturing part of you that's going to hug the hurt part of you. And then you can, when it's a bit more peaceful, you could say, now I want to create what will bring me joy in the moment. Oh, I'm going to speak to Carmen. I want to reach out to people and give them a big, big hug everywhere and tell them to trust themselves and just do what they love and feed their heart, feel their soul, and do things that makes them happy. And if there's fear in between, it's an illusion. Fear is actually an illusion. There's no fear. We're infinite. But it takes time. Sometimes, you don't build a castle like that. You need to maybe clear out the forest, all the trunks. It takes time. There's roots work for a few years. So people say, oh, nothing happens. It's bullshit. It doesn't work. And I said, look, be patient. Do the work. It will work, but you need to do the groundwork. And then you need to align yourself and spread out.
Yeah. I feel that to go into the light, you need to clean the shadow first, right?
We're always going to have some shadow. We're always going to have some crisis. It's life. We're human. We're on this plane. We're incarnated. The idea is we take it on board. We're not pushing down or even identifying with it or judging ourselves or feeling guilty or whatever, feeling we're not worth anything because we feel like that. Sometimes we need to
embrace it.
Embrace it with no judgment. It's like a mother would hug a child, and said, okay, I connect, I can measure how hurt you are. It's okay, come for a big hug. No judgment, there's no need to do that kind of therapy thing where you have to look for why. Sometimes you do, but most of the time, just give yourself love. That's hurt part of you. We all have a hurt child. I know when my hurt child acts out and say, it's my hurt child. You could give it a name. You could call it the multiple aspect of personality by Fisher. It's a psychological typology. You can do those classifications. You can learn that, but it's only tools like a fork or a knife, to cut the meat. But you could also take the meat and, well, meat being metaphorical. I don't eat meat.
Yeah, I don't eat meat either.
I did, but after a while, you're vibrating so high, you cannot get meat into your body. It's the thing that it comes naturally.
Yeah.
That your body says, oh, no, it will go. Because then you choose whatever keeps you high. You're elated, but you're elated from, you attract from just emitting good vibes. You attract that then. And then it comes with a law of rebound. It always comes several times fold. So that's why you can always say, oh, I want this, please, I want this, and more, because it will always give you way more. Look at an apple tree, how abundant it is at the end of September. An apple tree in September, contemplate it. There's more than you need. You're never going to eat all these apples at once. There's so many of them. It's a big old apple tree with so much food. The universe is full of abundance. Every day, being gratitude, say thank you for everything. There's so much I can be thankful for. I spend my time saying thank you. Thank you, Carmen, for connecting with you. You're wonderful. I love your smile and the freshness and the warmth. And we have a little flower as well.
Oh wow, it's so beautiful. It's similar to mine. I have the Sri Yantra.
Yes, I have a Metatron as well. It's nice.
And I think sometimes we are like too much in our head, in our stories, and what we were talking about earlier, that we get attached to our stories.
Yes, totally. We do.
How can we get out of that cycle of?
Okay, I did it, and I still have to do it consciously. But I did it. I was in a city. So in a city, you're overstimulated in the head. It's very head-based, and you have a job or you have to make money, and you're caught in very materialistic, consumeristic, fast-paced kind of lifestyle. Well, for most urban people, I would. It doesn't mean that you cannot do yoga or find a balance, but what I was doing a lot of walk in parks to ground myself. I was doing a lot of meditation and breath work. I used to go to the beach a lot, spend a lot of time in nature to ground myself and find a kind of inner peace and do stuff that I love. And that's why I was hankering after something more peaceful. So I just asked, I said, I want a beautiful place that is peaceful and beautiful, peaceful, inspiring, and healing for me and for others. And that's what I had. I had a dream about it, and then I saw that was the place. So I changed my lifestyle to be closer to nature. And I stopped reading so many. Well, I do read books, don't get me wrong, but I don't have to write books anymore or compile an awful lot of books as an academic, to read about the topic and be in your head a lot, or prepare courses for third year level, whatever, in university, or do manage a school, a third level institution, and liaise with the Department for Education, and being that kind of hierarchical structure. Or I don't have to work with the elites, the European Union elites, and I don't have to do this because I've chosen to go back to the land. And this is important, to not to identify with all this. It's all showed me that it was not real. It showed me it was power games, it was smokes and mirrors, the lure of money, the lure of prestige. What is this? Nothing. It's still part of the illusion there. And this is not, I wanted real life, the real depth of what does that mean to be alive. So that journey from the illusion and back into the truth, you can only get there if you go closer to your own truth and simply do things you love. Obviously, nature will definitely cure you of everything. And there's this Irish saying I love that says, there's nothing that a big laugh and a long sleep won't cure. You need to rest. And you can't rest if you're in a big city, because there's always going to be a stimulation, I think. maybe it's just me, but I think in the countryside it's much more, the vibes are more of a still soul, the she, and the land is still alive. You can feel it, you can respond to it, we can communicate to the she, the spirits of the land, the spirit of the water, the spirit of the trees, the beautiful energies that are all around us, the beauty of, and it's not romanticized because it's hard work as well. When you plant your own cabbages, you sweat. I sweated when I planted my own cabbages. You need to go and do the work. It's a gratifying, it takes longer to cook, but it's a different length of time. You go and you go to your polytunnel, you cut your own food, you go back, you process it with filtered water, you start thinking of what you're going to do with it, and you have so much, you put light into the food, you have light coming from the food, from the land, and you're vibrating with the land. And there's a law of entrainment in Newtonian physics that says that you're going to, by resonance, vibrate to the highest frequency. So if the land is evolving as it is at the moment, and the Schumann resonance is through the roof, which is the vibration of the earth, is going faster and faster and faster because it's ineluctable. We're going into a part of the universe with a great photonic activity now. We're done with the Kali Yuga. The age of iron age is gone. We're going, even physically, astrophysically, all the planets and our galaxy is going into a part of the universe which is light. So photonic activity, and then it has an impact on growing vegetables and on the vegetation. So when you do that and you pick from the land directly all around you, and you process it and you eat it with a very raw food, keep it as raw as possible, and you can use a blender, or sometimes very, very pure, you could just eat it raw. Then it vibrates you, it lifts you, it can lift you, and then it can shake you, and you always feel, wow, better than a hit of, I don't know, I've never tried cocaine, or I'm proud to say, not that I didn't see it offered to me, I've never needed it, but people will need drugs or whatever it is, or, a stimulation. The stimulation is a super high and goes down. Whereas that is different. That is just a constant.
Because it's natural.
A constant elation to feel that things come to you because you're so aligned. That's the beauty of it. It's like you switch on the light and the light goes and things come to you because you're aligned. And to be aligned, you need to face your fears, ground yourself, breathe, connect to your heart and your soul. Do what you love. Yes, when there's a yes, but look at the fear. How can you just, so the fear, there's an integration of yourself. You can say, okay, you make the wall talk. You have you here, then you have the wall that's preventing you from going where you want to go. So the wall on a piece of paper and put a little part at the back. It's not very glamorous, that part of us that is the hurt part of us that we don't want to show to people. We just want to be showing, the best of us. But there's always a little part that's like hurt or brokenhearted or damaged. And so we make the tree talk, and what is the wall saying to you? Feel the wall. Talk to what it's saying to you. What is this little hurt little part of the back saying? What is the front part? So it's acknowledging all the parts of you, especially for the people who have been affected. You could think of any type of, whether they've been abandoned, whether they've been sexually assaulted when very young, or they never had the support that they expected. It can be different. There's always going to be 5 main wounded situation. Either you're betrayed, or you're abandoned, or there's anger, or you feel you've been deprived of something that you needed and you haven't been given it. Some people grow up to look after the family because the mother was dead when very young or was not emotionally available, things like that. You know, could be a lot of situations, but it boils down to healing that by just identifying. And when the wall, you just goes, shrink it, shrink the wall, shrink the wall, shrink. So it goes visually, you imagine. Power of imagination. Whatever you imagine, the life you imagine comes to you. Always. If it's aligned to what your heart is, soul is doing, you will come to you. Opportunities will come to you. People, the right people will come to you. Even the wrong people will come to you. People will come to you for your benefits. There's your best teachers. It's the wrong people. People who hurt you because they, have to say, all the people who hurt me, thank you, really, really thank you, because I managed to turn within and find all my inner wisdom and inner strength thanks to you, because you walked away, or you betrayed me, or you showed me things, and it made me stronger, not more, and I let go of resentment, and I said thank you to you, and I wish you the best. I don't need you, I'll connect with you, but you showed me I was strong. So thank you for teaching me this lesson into my life. And then you travel light. You don't carry the grudges. You don't carry, because you're not identified with your life anymore. You're just in the moment. You have too much good time. When I bought my harp, I started playing a note or two, and it was like, my heart was so full. There's too much of it. Nothing I could have bought or I could buy will give me that amount of, fulfillment.
Yes.
There's a special inner radiance, and you feel totally alive when you're aligned to what you're supposed to be doing. And deep down, it's not about what you study. Sometimes it's a line in a book that's going to hit you, or a person's going to speak a few words, or you're going to see someone doing something and say, hey, that's what I want to do. She's doing it. This is something like that I want to do. Or sometimes you have a dream, and whatever it is, there'll be a little thing. Follow it. Follow your intuition. Don't follow your mind. The mind is a trickster. It's about being. It's not about being stuck in there. And you can only do that with breath and sound. That's why I use sound. I use my tuning forks. I have 174 hertz. I can connect to my soul star. And 274 hertz, you can connect to the earth. So you can connect, or you can connect to the sound. I play different instruments. Sound. You are the sound. Look at a bowl from anywhere, a metal bowl that you ring. In fact, I bought a little thing that something like that.
Oh wow! Yes.
It's silver. It rings. And it rings silver. Silver is high in vibrations. You can have copper. I have a lot of copper here. This is copper.
Yeah.
Oh, this is copper. You can use copper and silver and gold. And after gold, you can have a lot of crystals.
Yes.
A lot of crystals and gold, to seize the gold of time. Then time disappears. And you realize there's no more linear consciousness. It's a full consciousness beyond time and space. And that's what it means to be evolving beyond third density. It's, knowing that you are what you are. You simply are, and it's full. Because in Hebrew, oro, español, it means light, gold. you know, the root, you know, or in French, you have gold, but in Hebrew it means light. So you could think of transforming your levels, refining, doing that alchemy from the dirt of you, like they say in Buddhism, and then you create that beautiful flower of the flower of Buddhism. You know what I'm talking about? The lotus.
Yes, the lotus, yeah.
The lotus has to come from the mud.
Mm.
So we're working on the mud, and we're filtering the mud to create this beautiful, fragrant, beautiful flower. And you know, if you, I've been to China, and in the Zen monasteries there, the Siamoni Fo, they're like Shakyamuni. They're adapted a kind of a type of Zen Buddhism, and you see the golden the golden Buddhas, and the Buddhas, they're gold because they're resplendent. They've done the job of filtering all their mud and their darkness, and they haven't pushed it away. They have transformed it. They've transmuted it, which was changing the structure and the nature of it, use it. So to be in pain is good, to be in the darkness is good. Go back to yourself, give yourself love, do simple things you love that gives you a sense of comfort, coming from a real sense of comfort, not substitute that's going to be like a cigarette has opium in it. So it is an opiate substance, so it's addictive because the opium is going to dull your senses. It's not about dulling your senses, it's actually sharpening them with peace. So it's all this work, and some people are at different stages. I'm not talking about the super evolved or the super sleeping ones, because maybe one day something will make them, you know, when do you know a seed is going to burst and start shooting into a seedling? It's not up to you to decide this. When the seed is ready, it will burst itself. So there's a divine timing for everything. There's a timing for everything. I hope that, I don't know if it's any use, but if I shine my light playing music or singing or simply being in peace and sending lots of kind words and magical colors to the universe, to the people, somehow they'll have a moment where they'll feel quieter and calmer, and they start lifting the veil from themselves. And they said, actually, I'll say to people, reconnect, remember who you are. Remember who you are. You are light, you are infinite, you are the universe. You are not your stories. You can co-create your reality by you vibrate by the vibrations and the thoughts. So be aware of what you're vibrating, be aware of your thoughts. The best thing is no thoughts. Be engrossed in sound. Sound is the structure of the universe. Sound and light, it's the real deep nature of the universe. Everything is interconnected. You know, you can have a lot of applications to this, but you know, it's about shining your own light. If you react from something from the outside, you're still reacting against. It's still a trigger. You're not centered to what you're supposed to be doing. If I light my candle, and Carmen, you light your candle, and everyone else, my neighbors, your neighbors, light their candles, the world will be brighter and warm. And that's all we need to do. And things will come to you, and people will come to you, and you think, oh, it's a miracle. And then when you start doing that, it starts manifesting faster and faster, because you reach a stage where you're already there. You are already there. When you want to manifest, people say, oh, I wish this. No, you're already there. Feel like you're already there. Feel like, let's say you want a new car. Get yourself already driving this new car. I know it's materialistic, but let it It's part of it. We still have a density there. Well, you say, I need money to buy that car. But maybe not. Maybe someone will decide, oh, I love what the song is so great, or, you know, I have an old car, we can swap to something else. You know, you'll have a car. You can live it. You can say, thank you, the universe, for bringing me a car. You know, and you can decide very specifically which car you want. Mm-hmm. You can decide whatever, or you can let the universe. There's two levels. You can specifically ask for something very detailed, and you're going to get it. It might take a while, but you will get it. Or you can say, okay, just get me what I need now. And even better, thank you for bringing me what I need now, and opening your mind and letting go, not projecting and trying to control. There's nothing you can control. So you're not here to control things. You're here to be, to be you, to be feeling alive with what you feel in your heart, feeding your soul. And so powerful. The heart is so powerful. You don't know, you can be touched, you know, so much love in the universe, everywhere, the beauty of animals, the beauty of flowers, some new beautiful people as well. And it's not one what they say, it's sometimes it's just you see someone and you feel the vibes are like, oh my God, oh wow, those vibrations are, oh, you feel a connection, you could say, or you're just in awe, they're so beautifully vibrating, and some people say, oh, these people, they vibrate, and it's not rational, right? It's not coming from your left side of the brain. It's not logico-deductive. It's not coming from philosophy. I've done all this. I know I've been a philosopher, historian. All this, it's all good. The mind is beautiful. Knowledge is beautiful, but I prefer wisdom to knowledge. You know, and then when you start developing your psychic powers, which you always had, by the way, because we're only downgraded from a superpower, we're only using 2 codons of DNA instead of 12, perhaps even 13. And why not create more? I'm sure you could, but the DNA, has been dulled down. So our powers, we need to reclaim them now, and reclaim telepathy and teleportation and bilocation, and all these things do exist. They do exist. In the beginning, when you start being at 2 different places at the same time, hearing two realities at the same time, or more, because it's not just, sometimes you can just be outside of your body, floating over a wood, and you see things from different sides, different angles, and you are in several densities. You're not just in one. You can see immediately things from different, you're totally in expansion of conscience. Mm-hmm. You understand that life is more than what we think it is, and there's more densities and levels of awareness of what life is, if you like, that you ever thought possible. And this, it's our privilege. We have all these tools to connect to this, but why? Because life is not the illusion of being in fear and in anger for control to harvest our DNA and makes us robots, like a certain narrative from the undesirables and the scaly ones, as I will call them. I call them the undesirables, the dark people there. There's some people, there's no doubt. But I will connect to smell, to being good to myself, to honor with food is very important. Your thoughts is very important. Spending time, as you do, Carmen, with nature is so important. Doing things that feed your heart and your soul. Cry if you feel like it. Embrace, surrender to what is. And vibrate and just be. Mm. And you will attract, by being, you're going to start vibrating your truth. Your own truth. My truth is my truth. It's not important. So what's important is start vibrating your own truth. Whatever it is you love to do that makes you feel alive. Maybe you don't know. People say, oh, I don't know, I don't feel alive. Or maybe they should try a detox, maybe, Because if you pump your body full of sugar and fat and processed food, of course your senses will be dulled. If you don't plunge in a living surrounding that's still pure enough, natural enough, then if it's always, concrete and no trees or very little, even if there was one blade of grass, you could see sometimes a blade of grass growing in, cracking the, what does that tell you about the power of nature, which we have inside? Can you imagine? We say in Zen, the softness is stronger than hardness, because water, drip by drip, can crack a stone. That's what the Zen wisdom teach us. And indeed, I know it's a fact that love will conquer the hardest of heart and the most cynical, heart and, hardened heart. There will be a moment when the ice will melt and all this knowledge will flow back into people's. And now is the time, people, to raise their vibration, be in the moment like kids, be more like kids in their heart and their soul. Forget about what we need to do tomorrow. That's it now. Aquarius, Saturn is gone, We're going to have collaborative work, harmony, the welfare. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be competition anymore. It's going to be collaborating in groups and sharing the best, sharing also the hard parts, but we will know how to take our hurt side, embrace it, and really transform it so that it's, and let all these things, sometimes there's moods that come over us. We feel them. You say, okay, I feel them. Do you know what? It doesn't belong to me. It's me. I am not identifying with this transient thing. It's a transient. Life is transient. The only life that's real is when you feel you're connecting to your own truth. So just open your heart and just do things you love, whatever it is, and say thank you. Thank you for my health, for my eyesight, for my legs. Some people forget, some people, forget to have hands. Wonderful. You can do so much with your hands. You can do so much with your eyes. You can see all those colors. It's amazing. You can smell a rose. You can smell the fragrance of a mushroom, especially when you pound a mushroom sometimes, or you prepare something. It's explosion of, I love, a blender of fresh stuff, and you open and it's like, you have that burst of fragrances and it's like, wow, it's fragrant. You need to, that's part of feeling alive. Sharpen your senses. And about knowledge, it's not about the books. The books will help. Of course, the book will help, always. But at some stage, you reach a level where if you want to know something, you will know exactly the thing you need to know. You can just ask and you'll have the answer. And it's because we're transcending time and space, and we're able at some stage to know. We just know. But it's not about knowing for power. It's about knowing to make something fair or just, to have the right proportions of things. Sometimes you just need to know one thing. Some people say to me sometimes, how do you know all this about me? And I said, no, I don't know anything about you. And I don't want to. I'm just telling you the right information right now, mirror, to help you take your life into your own hands as a mirror. I hold a mirror and I said, this is, you see here, this, and this is what's happening around you. These could be the ways you could solve it. You need to practice this and that and that. And people say, well, I like more than that. Okay, everyone has their own strategy, and that's why we're so different. It'll be boring if we're all the same people, the same people like robots.
Yes. And how do you tell us about what you do and how you help your clients?
Could you say again, please, Carmen? Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Yes, can you tell us about what you do and how you help your clients?
Hi. Where do I go and why do I?
What do you do?
Yes. Okay. Well, some people come to me and they say I have that problem, or sometimes they just come and they say, "Okay, here I am. What can you see?" You know.
Tell me.
They're like, see if you can find something. Thinking, Jesus, she might be one of those woo-woo, you know, charlatans and milking me, you know. But and then in the end, they're like, you know, and they're kind of realizing then, and then I tell them, look, depends on the people. There's different combination, but mostly people come to me because they're disconnected. There's a disconnect somewhere between, or they have, do you know, the people who have forgotten who they were for so long that they have developed illness. Because an illness is simply that you haven't listened to who you really are. And there might be a bit more into that, you know. It's not only simply like that, but some babies can incarnate sometimes some people can just incarnate just in the womb and go, you know, they're just meant to experiment what it's like to be in a body. You know, there's a lot of cases, but it would take us too long. But what do I do? To answer a question, I do is most of the time I open my heart, and I empty my mind. I don't know anything because I don't want to know anything. I know nothing. It has to be a fresh, clear, clean, new eyes and ears, and I'm listening and I'm watching, and you know, in fact, in communication, it's 10% of what you say. And 90% of what you feel or what you emit, what you are. So even our conversation, it's important that you could feel the sound of joy and love and tenderness penetrating the ears of everybody. More than what we say, we can say, and that's just as powerful as something really rational. But there are obviously typologies or methods, but it is adapted to the person. So I always start with watching their auras, and I look quickly, I do an aura scan. But not always, but that's useful to me. And I look at where there's a problem and what it means and I look at it in a holistic way. So I look into their past, into their mindset, into their values, into you know, what does that pain means in their body from a holistic perspective? Why do they have that pain? For how long? And sometimes I tell them, I said, yes, I can see you have a problem there, and you had it for about 10 years up to 15 years. It's because of this or that. You must feel like that. And say, yes, how do you know? I said, because in fact, everything in us, in our bodies, vibrate at a particular range, and it means something for the whole. And of course, it's always better to have a good aura because you attract it with your thoughts and your patterns, your lifestyle. So it's about, you go back to change in terms of nutrition or lifestyle changes, or getting out of the mind chatter into presence, full presence. So breath work, grounding, there's always then a three-stage process, but it takes time to develop. But the three-stage process, first I teach them to ground themselves with sound, with meditations, to feel their legs energized and connected to the earth. Most of people don't have that these days because they're too busy watching a screen. They forget that they are connected to the earth. So walk bare feet, doing some crow yoga position. For instance, the crow yoga is very good, or doing some Tai Chi, or doing some Qigong movement. Qigong is excellent to put in harmony the breath work and the mental, the movement and the mental, the harmony between the mind and the body, and to appease the mind and to go back into the essence of presence. And once, so there's grounding, then there's aligning. Aligning, that means a lot of work again. A lot of people are not even connected to their body. Sometimes they're outside their body, or part of their body is outside of themselves because it's been too painful because of their thoughts. Basically, there's a holistic link between thoughts, energy, vibrations, and illness in the body. You can see an illness in the body, in the subtle bodies before it hits the body, and you can tell, look, where it is in 3 years' time, or 5 years' time, or 2 years' time, or in this coming year, you're going to have that problem, and that'll come from this. And you can start, grounding yourself, aligning yourself, and then you switch on the button. Only then you need to put a bulb into the lamp before you're able to, and plug it into the socket for it to work. And of course, all the connections need to work. There's a connection that's slightly not connected to the rest, it's not going to work. So people say, oh, it doesn't work, it's bullshit, I don't believe. Okay. You don't, and I say to people, you don't have to believe me, that's okay. Just keep doing the exercise. And they say, oh, I was still in pain. And people ring me for 2 years, and because the groundwork, they think it happens like that. Now, yes, we're in a moment where the time is accelerating and we can heal faster. We can integrate faster. We can blossom faster. We can manifest faster because it's a special time. It's a portal coming with so much light. It's going to be instant because the speed of light, can you imagine? Can you imagine the speed of light? 350,000 kilometers per second. Like, it's the time you think of it, it's done already.
Yes.
Beware of what you're thinking of, because you're going to manifest it. The universe will say, okay, I hear, okay, it's going to give you more of this. Or if you're like, it's going to give you more of that as well. And if it's peace, it's no mind. It's being in a state of presence all the time. So I worked long enough for years and years and years, since I was 17, I'm 53. So it's been 40 years of learning no mind. Now I can be into the zone in a few seconds. But from people, and when I'm annoyed, or breath work, grounding, aligning, and then balancing. The third one is balancing. Balancing is through breath work, from going for walks, fresh air, power of imagination. Your imagination is boundless. You can manifest anything you want. And gratitude, like if it's already there, because time is an illusion. You think there's a distance between what you are and it's not what you're going to have. It's who you are already. The oak tree is already in the seed. And that's the beauty of it. You're already there. Even though you think there's a linear time that you'll have to wait, and then you're not sure. And if you're not sure, you're going to send that. But if you say, oh, wow, thank you. Now I can play the piano well, or, oh yeah, I can play chess super well, or whatever it is you want to do. Or I want to be, this is my light. This is what I want to express in this life. And but I'm struggling against this. You will be struggling because that's what you're sending. You're sending your sense of struggling. But if you say, oh, I want to express this, but and I'm well able, and if I'm not even sure, I'm just going to go step by step by step by step, and thank you for, and you already say thank you, because whatever you want, you imagine you already have it done, and you already have the impact, and all the, you know, all the people coming to receive this lovely light you're sending, and sending you the visualization that I love. You could, by Shakti Gawain, an old book I had in 1987, just a long time ago. So it's called The Power of Manifestation, you know, creative visualization by Shakti Gawain. She's American, it's very American, you know, but it's a good one. You create, you see yourself already where you want to be, and you see the people coming. If you're struggling with self-love, worth, you see imagine all these people coming and thanking you. And I've got that, I got that a lot in my life with the music, you know. You just packing your guitar or whatever it is, you know, instruments, and you have people coming, oh, that was great, and you think, oh yeah, thank you. You need to always thank you. You don't really believe it sometimes, if you come from, but then it's constant, and then you can attract this. Then you have a good self-esteem. It's difficult to have. Do the test in a mirror. Watch yourself a minute in a mirror, all of you, without any thought or criticism, without saying, "Oh Jesus, look at my skin, look out there, look at my eyes, look at my teeth are yellow." Do you know, you're going to have all that. But that's what I'm talking about. Let all that go. It doesn't matter. It's simply the love is at one. We're one. Can you imagine if everyone now step out of the matrix, in love with themselves and in joy with themselves, and start shining their own lights? Their energy will go poof, and we'll have a big flash of you know, all colors. There's an electromagnetic grid around the planet. I've seen it several times. In fact, last January, I could see the grid popping with little blue. It's like there's a part, you know, when you have opened your crown chakra, your corona chakra, because it's called coral, you know. How do you say crown in Spanish?
Coronilla. Creo que es coronilla.
It's like coronilla. You see, the root is corona, coronilla, coronation. It's, and the reason why there's a virus they call corona is because they don't want people to open their mind, and they want to keep them in the lower densities. Not understanding that, because the solar plexus, the chakra tree, we have several layers of chakras, but for the main ones, you know, the third chakra is linked to several subtle bodies as well. So it's a very important chakra. It's a chakra of your inner strength and your inner power. So in order to balance that, you just need to step into your own power. Now is the time. You know, it's like you have a lit motorway in front of you. You can accelerate and say, I can go there, I can be, and I am. And the thing is, again, that's a third, for people not to lose people too fast. Maybe I lost a lot of people or not sure, but everyone will understand with their own level of consciousness. But you're already there. You are already who you are. It's just waking up one morning and saying, I am. Wow, wonderful. I am. I'm fulfilled already. I'm happy. It's fantastic. It's like, wow. You know, you don't need anything. You don't need to buy, you know, the consumeristic old earth of, oh, you know, to buy a car, or, you know, to buy whatever, XYZ, and I'll be happy. And you look at stuff will make you happy. It's how you feel inside that will make you happy. Stuff can help you sometimes. Like my harp is helping me because I love the sound. I love to play it. But so I love the guitar, I love the banjo, I love the violin, I love the bass, I love to play my drums. I love to connect with my guides when I play my sacred shamanic drum. I love all this, but I don't need them. I can just connect directly to this the sense of being. We are, therefore we do. Not we do before we are able, perhaps, not to be. No, the reversed, turn it around. You know, like the alchemy, there's something in Latin that says, I won't go into too much pedantic quotations, but the gist is, you turn the medicine stone, you turn the stone and you find the hidden medicine. Turn the stone, you are alchemist inside, you're a magician, you can do it yourself, and the happiness is within you, the power is within you. First you anchor, then you balance, like a tree. You anchor, you connect, you balance. You anchor like a tree. It takes a few years, it can take a decade. Find solid roots. And when you feel those roots, you feel yourself part of the earth. You're magnetized to the earth, you're part of the earth, you're part of this whole thing all around us. We're together, all together. We need to wake up from the illusion of separatedness. There's nothing separate. And the division, in Latin, is diabolus, diabolo in Italian, diable en français. I don't know in Spanish, how do you say devil? Diablo.
Diablo, yes.
That's it. And in diawl, in Breton, and Teufel in German, it's the same root of to divide. And what did the politician do all their life? Divide and conquer. Divide et impera in Latin. So you look at the language that we speak, and we need to talk the bird language,
Yes.
In French, we say gouvernement. Gouvernement. You say? El juegar. El gobierno, el juego. ¿Entiendes? It's all these things. We could speak different languages, but there's a root of the energy of the words that we need to go beyond the words to the energy of the words. We need to go beyond the narrative to the energy of the narratives. You listen to something and you say yourself. You don't need someone to fact check bullshit. Fact check is a mind control mechanism. You just think, okay, how does that resonate at my belly button level? Does that resonate in my gut, or does that sound like bullshit? Simple as that. You have the answer yourself. You need to sharpen your senses. Remember who you are. Go back to yourself. Teshuvah. In Hebrew, you say teshuvah. Go back into you. This is where the heart is. This is where the genius, this is the door is within you. The door is here. So that's answering your question. What do I do and what do people, sometimes I play music, sometimes I give energy work, bit of energy work, sometimes a bit of Reiki, quantum healing, this basic thing, putting a loving energy into your hands and connecting with maybe entities, the good types, the healing, lovely, pinkish or beautiful, lovely, kind, fairy-like, or different textures of a good, high-dimensional beings that are there with us, and putting this energy into your hands sometimes. Sometimes you just say nothing and you just let this emanate from you. And that's enough, because to be is enough.
Yeah, that's lovely. And where can people find you? And what are your, I think you're doing a workshop soon, right? Or a ceremony?
Well, first of all, I am I've been a teacher and a musician for so many years, a lecturer and a manager so I want to contribute. Now my life is with the land, and I'm more like a paganus in Latin. It's someone close to the land. So I want to just humbly be close to the land, humus, humble, human, all this is linked together. Humanidad, humanity is coming from being close to the land, close to the power of the land, the power of La Tierra Madre. You could, in our tradition in Celtic, I also have a PhD in Irish studies, so I have all the traditions. My heritage is Irish and Breton, so I have the Breton traditions and the Irish traditions of the land. And as a shaman and a druid, it's basically passing on the wisdom and the love in a different ways. So you can talk about the elements. So I have created a center which is called Art, Nature and Traditions, and it's a center where we talk about art, nature and traditions very generally. And art is transformative. You see art sometimes and it hits you and it's emotional because wow, you know, that's why a work of art is something transformative. It has to hit you at some level. It expands your consciousness. It makes you aware of, in the movement, the color, the vibration, the sound. It could be visual, it could be sculpture, it could be cooking, it could be knitting, it could be anything, making an essential oil, it could be you know, replanting trees or creating beautiful compositions of textures with different things. It could be anything creative whatsoever. Raising kids, women are great, and men are great too. You know, we all have the creativity within us. So that's, this center has 3 strands. There's a school of music in it. There will be workshop for permaculture and working with the land, with themes, for instance, discovering how to cook with wild herbs, and maybe I'm surrounded with nature. So take people on a walk, and then we stop and we explain what the wild herbs are and what they can be used for, because this knowledge has been lost. A lot of us don't know them, and I have books like that, for instance, you know, Hildegard von Bingen.
Oh yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah, it's an old book from the 12th century. It's not a new thing. And way before that, you had different cultures. You had the Vedic traditions. It goes a long time, and even further, maybe Atlantis, and we maybe we are evolving, and we need to go back to the land in order to go to our new humanity, evolved humanity into 5-dimension densities. Densities would be how light you are, how, but in order to see the densities, you need to evolve in dimensions. Mm-hmm. And it's like the you know, the prophecy, the Anden prophecies. I'm sorry, I'm answering your question, trying to stay focused, but you know, if you look at the Celestine prophecy, the book, where people become transparent and then they disappear. They don't disappear, they just raise their consciousness so that their vibrations are so fast, so high, that they can only be seen tangibly by people with evolved eyes. So yes, dimensional people, they seem like they disappear. What happened is their light body is going faster and faster and faster, so that you can see them transparent. And then if you yourself raise your vibrations, you'll see them as normal, with faces again and colors and textures again. And some people don't need to incarnate necessarily in a body. They can decide a shape. They can be in different types of shapes, bubbles, or anyway, that's for the advanced. But the important thing is, this is what my school is about. I want to reconnect people with the land, the wisdom of the land. We're evolving. This society clearly doesn't work. It's destroyed. It's serving. It's very self-destructive, and it's a robotic society. So if people want to become robots, it's their choice. But I think there's lose my soul. Okay, that's not my choice. I think humanity could be more fun if we're all creating freely with plenty of colors and textures and densities and dances and different things that makes life, tasty and beautiful. And we all have that within. So help the people to reconnect with the land and their nature, to reconnect their own nature. So practically, there's a music school with a series of courses in different instruments, from piano to harp to classical guitar to Irish trad music to rock, electric guitars, anything. There's and more. They have to look into the website, have a website and a Facebook page. And there's going to be workshops in different. I have a few surprises for the beginning of the year. But first, solstice. There's going to be a solstice special, because this is a huge portal. We're stepping into the light. Well, technically, we're already stepped through the light. I don't know if you can feel these vibes.
Yes, I feel that.
Yes, the light is there. Wake up. And yeah. I mean, the higher you are, the more protected you are, the safer you are. And of course, if you start believing a fake narrative, and everything, think for your own gut. Don't even believe any word I'm saying. Feel within you what resonates. Everything that lowers your vibrations, everything you read, the words, look at the newspapers and listen to the words. There's always going to be words that are full of life, or words that will bring you down, and full of destruction and limiting words, about destruction and the lower vibrations, and you look at what you want to do. Do you want to resonate with sadness, with murder, with all those negative vibrations, the fear, the anger, the reacting against it, going into the streets to fight? Then you're going to attract this, because you're emitting this. You're going to attract more of it. Or you want to say, okay, I consciously choosing to be, and I am free. And this is only a little system that is trying to entrap us, but we're giants. We're connecting to the stars. Look at the structure of the universe. Astrophysics tells us so. Biology tells us so. Philosophy, history, architecture, mathematics, all the different traditions in various countries at different times tells us the law of one. And sacred geometry, not just the law of one, which is of course the fractal source, to which we all belong. We have the source within us, we have a universe within us, but we have sacred geometry, we have sacred patterns. Life has a structure. It's not random, it's not postmodern, it's not, oh, tomorrow I decide to be a duck and I'm going to be called Johnny the Duck, okay, but it's not what we're supposed to be doing now. We're supposed to be, coming into the light, shedding all the layers of darkness and remembering who we really are, activating more and more, remembering more and more who we are, going back and deep into the past to create into the future, to realize we're already there. And we just have to shine now and be. No mind, just be happy. And with practice, the more and more you feed this love within you, this joy within you, this wow, sense of wow, isn't that great? Every day you need to be in gratitude for everything. Listen to this sound of the silver. And we can do this. There's only silver what it seems.
That's so beautiful. Yes.
You can have those things. They're very good to protect you against electromagnetic.
That's a pyramid. What type of material is made of?
Well, it's shungite.
Shungite.
Shungite, which is a stone. It's well known by the Russians that they've used it for 400 years. Or you can use organites like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's physics of torsion fields. And it's just physics, you know, aeronautics, physics. It's just a certain level of using three things really: a neutral element, metal, crystals. So the neutral encases everything. Inside you have, it's very simple to understand. I'm not going to even use technical, it hasn't technical names, but I don't want to be pedantic. Keep it down to the basics. You have, in all the organites, it takes all the EMFs and traps them because they can vibrate very fast. They get sucked in by the metal that take all the negative ions. And then all the negative ions are very transported, or they're going to the crystals. And the metal takes all the negative ions, then the crystals, at the top of the crystals, bring all the positive ions. So it's about transmutation. It's not about opposing darkness to light. It's about using darkness to create light. The more light, the less darkness. Or the more light, the more darkness you see. And it's a constant movement, you know, it's this movement. Mm-hmm. And so that's what an orgonite is. It's simply a device by which you transform all your negative ions from all the devices that people have, and you can use metal and crystals. Metal to attract, crystals to transmute into a neutral frame. So you can use that with wood, or you can use it with you know, some neutral what you call again, it's a substance, it's kind of plasticky, but it kind of solidifies. You can do the shapes you want. Shapes are very important as well. So whatever works for you, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Now is a good time to be you, to trust that you're already there. You to wake up from the illusion that you're not already fully manifested. Wake up from this illusion. There's no journey. You can go directly into the center, the core of you. You can just remind yourself of who you are. How does that resonate? You have the choice. You have full sovereignty, full power. You don't need a daddy government to tell you what to do, especially not on your body. You're a master of your body. You know how you feel inside. You can create good vibes by eating light, eating vegetables. And, you know, for a long time, I didn't understand the vegetarian people. I thought, oh, they're a bit crazy. It's like a sect. You know, I understand why people would have very closed minds, because I had them too. I was judgmental. I was not evolved enough. I couldn't understand the vibes. And when you start being in those high vibes, you can't put something that's going to go crushing your vibes. Now is the time to fly like the eagle. You need the shamanistic way would be the eagle, or you have in Irish traditions the Ail, you know, the eagle that's flying. And everyone is interconnected. We're powerful beyond measure. So no TV, switch off your TV. I've got rid of my TV 25 years ago. No TV needed. Telepathy is so much more accurate. You feel everything inside. You can be in different places at different time. And this is normal. If you think you're already totally discombobulated, that's normal. You need to destroy in order to upgrade. So we're doing a collective upgrade. So that's my center. That's the purpose of my center, to facilitate people in very practical ways. I've been speaking perhaps a little bit abstract, but there's very tangible ways. Even putting the kids, teaching them how to grow a seed. It's magical. They can put a seed into the ground. If you water it, if you give it love, it'll grow into something beautiful. It's very empowering. And then you understand that a lot of things from that can be derived in terms of lifestyle choices about upcycling, and do we really need to eat peaches from South America or in Peru, or get pineapples from South Africa, or do you know, can you not just eat what's around us already? And if everyone is growing something and we share what we're growing, it's pure food that hasn't been transformed. We can, and the soil, people don't know what they're doing here in this country, but also in France and many countries, in Spain as well. They're doing the fresas with they just put liquids. They don't grow into the ground. There's no taste. There's no texture. There's absolutely no taste whatsoever. I do volumes of it, and they call it, and they do it in many countries. In Ireland, they put entrance into the ground because they tell you it's rational to do that to create more volumes of production. But in fact, what it does, it depletes the soils. We need to do something on the soil biology, and another program on sound healing, and another program on how to anchor yourself. I do tree yoga, for instance, tree meditations. I do a mix of, I help women with problems with Tao, for instance, Tao taking, breath work, sound. I do crystal balls. And of course, if people want, I can also, I'm a medium, so I can also do, help them connect with their past loved ones, and some people come to me to speak to or to connect with a dead person, or sometimes it happens that I teach something and I said, by the way, your cousin says that, or your wife, or your late brother says that, and they're like, no, that's true. Then I say, he died 3 years ago, right? Yeah, it's true, because that type of work has to. It's about connecting, expanding, helping people reclaim their own power, their own wisdom, and ultimately facilitating them shining bright, shining their own unique, precious light. Everyone has their own little light that is expanding and shining, and no one is taught that at school. And I'm an educationalist, I taught in every level. We need to learn, people. We need to learn from the richer, the more diverse, the better. But it's also true that it's better to take the food that grows around you for yourself. The honey you take, better to make your own honey. There'll be workshop on honey, there'll be workshop on I have something perhaps I'm going to tell early during next year. I'm going to plant some hemp, the old Irish way, with a friend of mine who's an Irish druid, Tom, a druid, a local druid. And I'm going to do it the old ways and explain why hemp is important, why hemp was grown 100 years ago in Ireland, all the history around that. That's an example. I'm going to have possibly people coming to speak about the relationship between folklore, mythology, magic, and the Celtic heritage and Druidic heritage. I'm going to explore Druidic connections with people, about how to connect with the various aspects of Druidic heritage, to connect with the water, the element fire, with the air, wind, and to connect with their quintessence, their emboss, get creative with their vision, connect and have that creative vision that gives them the connection with the she, the music, how to create sacred music. Music that I do is music which is created with the land, which has an imprint of the she, which is the small little spirits in nature, how to connect with these spirits, how to, and then from them you can understand how wonderful everything is in terms of interconnection.
Wow, was so interesting. I want to do all that.
Of workshops, and there'll be a monthly gathering as well, online or possibly better on the land of, obviously as a druid I do all the 4 main celebrations, and so people can come, they're welcome, to share the connection around the next one is the solstice, the winter solstice. Mm-hmm. Then there'll be, the 4 different ones. I don't want to be too specific because mainly this is a center where you can relearn what's really essential from the ground. Let go, upgrade your system, but not in a technological way, but back to your organic nature, back to yourself. You don't need a telephone. You don't need to wear a beat count on like a wristwatch or something that gives you your steps, because that's just a socially engineered way of next stage is inside of you. And then, oops, you're free. You're not connected to your soul anymore. Whereas when you play music, you need to have your beat within you. You have to have everything within you. You do have it within you. I'm not bringing anything to people. People have already everything within them. It's just sometimes there's a few methodologies, a few narratives, a few structures, a few typologies, a few teaching sequences that you can use to bring them from A to B, B to C, C to D, and developing certain skills in certain fields. But ultimately, it's within them. It's like a good gardener. That's all. You just nurture, put a bit of water, a bit of love, and they grow themselves. They need to practice. Practice is important. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Less energy is all around us. I want to create a healing beds, tachyon beds on the land there for the people, free. It's not about milking people's money. It's about sharing collaboratively. We can exchange different things. This is the society I want to bring about. We are pillars of lights for people who are only starting to leave the veil, to give them some kind of guidance, and then they can develop the way they want to develop freely. There will be a center to accommodate, facilitate, share, pool knowledge, and very able people, very interesting, enthralling. The idea is passion and enthusiasm, Otherwise, what's the point? Thank you, Carmen. Next time I'll interview you next time.
It was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure learning so much, and that uplifting talk, and so inspiring and motivating messages, and lots of pieces of wisdom that we can grab from this interview. So I'm very grateful for this. And I'd like to have you again here, because people really need this. I think we need that.
But everyone has that within them. They just forgot they're connected to this. They just need to find a connection. I've know nothing more than people. People can do, everyone can do their own ways, and probably way more. You know, look at kids that come now, they know the answers to things we don't know. We think, oh my God, how are we going to clean the plastic from the ocean? And then there's a Spanish scientist that discovers kind of an algae that eats the plastic, or kids will say, oh, sure, well, you just have to do this. And you think, oh my God, never thought of that. The kids just has it, you know.
Yes.
That's to tell you, it's not about the amount of bullshit and shit and the barrage of useless information that you're daily and nightly inundated with. It's about shedding all this, getting back to the essence, the heart and the soul. And you know, all the answers are within you, and you're powerful beyond reach, beyond even imagination. Imagination is the limit. And then people need to remember who they are. And there's no need for an entrapment narrative. What resonates within you? What makes you feel alive? What makes you feel like, there's something that, yeah, I do feel alive that way. Everyone can relate to something. It's as simple as that. Connect, feed your heart, feed your soul, connect to whatever makes you feel happy. Do more of that, little by little. Face your fears. They're only fear. Take the wall, bring it down, shrink it, connect the two parts of you, or several parts. And it doesn't go to, now is a portal where everything is so fast, because the timelines are blending. You know, I see sometimes in my third life, the timelines are crazy, because we're melding. So it's a timeline, it's a very auspicious timeline for people to manifest. They can heal, they anchor, they connect, and they balance. And then it opens, and they can manifest whatever they want and shine. This is my technique, but my technique is giving love to people. That's just love. Look at a dog, cuddle the world.
Yeah.
There's no more elbows, no more social distancing, robotic bullshit. That doesn't exist, you know. Yes. What exists is people, you know, suffering. And all the people who suffer are sick at the moment, give them lots of healing love. And you can tell there's lots of things. We'll have to go back and talk about how to activate your water. I have water activated with shungite, and explain to people how to cleanse their cells and naturopathic principles for health, how to reclaim their own power, their own energy, their own healing, their own food, be their own boss, and basically make a living out of being who they really are, instead of making a living because as an imposition, as something that is soul destroying, the expression soul destroying, you know, it's finished. We're ushering the new world. There's so much more to talk about. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, everyone. And I give lots of love and light, and may you all be shining your light. I love your smile, your lovely smile, lovely freshness.
Thank you, Rachel.
And maybe to be continued anytime. You know, Carmen, I'll be listening to your other podcast. Thank you for being here and holding the light as well for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you guys for listening. And you know, if you want to upgrade yourself, check Art, Nature and Traditions.
Yeah. It's called Art, Nature and Tradition, but my Facebook page is called Kildare School of Music, but it's part of the wider one, which is Killarney Druid School, Kildare.
And the website, what is the name of the website?
The website is Rachel. Okay, my website is finished, but I have to complete with a few pictures, you know, because I've recent pictures, but my website is rachelsLenihan.ie.
Okay, I'll put the links in the description of the video and the podcast, so that people can access directly, just clicking on the links.
Yes, thank you, Carmen, and keep doing what you do, sharing your lovely light and playing your lovely new drums. That's going to be exciting. I can
yes.
provide them. That goat, you're going to get that goat singing again.
Looking forward to go to the woods with my new drum.
Yes, yes. We'll do something else. Maybe with I do shamanistic things. I've skinned deers for the heart. The goat is very powerful. The goat is freedom,
Wow.
freedom. You know, and
Yes.
the goat has its own spirit, so you can get into the spirit of your goat. You need to engage now. You know that yourself, anyway.
Wow. Yeah. I'm looking forward to connect with the drum and.
Yes, yes, it's very powerful portal as well. It just, I'm sucked in, you know, every time I play my special shamanic drum, I'm sucked in, you know, I'm in a different dimension very quickly. That's what shamans do. But we all shamans, you know, we're all able to do that. Not everyone chooses to be. That's a different thing. The possibility, potentially. It's nothing extraordinary. We all have that power within us. We can all heal ourselves and connect with different dimensions. Some people don't want to. They have the gift, they just don't want it. It's their own freedom. Everyone is free will.
Yes. And that's what we have to remember, that we are free.
We're free, absolutely.
And we can choose.
Free, powerful, and true nature is following our own path and whatever makes us happy. If it doesn't hurt anyone else, if it doesn't damage anyone or anything, do it. Shine your own special, useful, and much needed precious light. Please, lads. Please, lads.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Lots of hugs and love to everyone. And thank you for listening. And if you liked the episode and you found some messages uplifting and inspiring, please share with your friends. And you can find more episodes in our website, floweroflifepodcast.com.
Thanks, Carmen.
Thank you. Thank you.